Hi. As discussed last week, I am currently working on Blobz, and it was quite a challenge for me to decide on what he is. And I have four designs that I went for, and only one of them is the Blobz. So let's begin from the start. Here I have what I started with, and at the beginning I just played around with a sphere and sculpted it around, and I just wanted to make like a blob shaped creature, and then went for like a spiky or fiery here. But in my head, I couldn't really make out or create a character that would represent a blob. Like, I can't imagine a face on this creature, but I still went on and retopoed it. So maybe I could come up with a design for it. As you can see here, I changed the shape of the spikes on the head and just made a simple topology that is not just random shapes. But I just couldn't create a face, and I didn't want it to have a lot of detail like a nose. So I just thought maybe I just need a head, but without the body. But I decided not to go with this and made another creature which is kind of unique in my opinion. And this is inspired a little bit by a manga that I read a while back. There is a bee character in that show, and I modeled the fluffy bit on the neck and the arms little bit like the arms on the bees. And this is certainly a character that could work, but I have a slight issue with it. It is not a blob. Well, you could argue that this kind of is, because there are no, like, you could argue that it is kind of a blob, but for me, it is just too many body parts. Like, I could imagine a maybe a blob being like this, but then I can't imagine this working as like moving around. Just it could just be hovering. For my liking, it is not what I want. So moving on, I have made just a silly idea that maybe the creature is just kind of 2D in a 3D space, and I could just make a different shaped eyebrows, eyes, and mouth for different emotions. But this, for me, is not quite it, because it doesn't represent a 3D creature, in my opinion. This could be just a drawing creature, like a 2D creature, and it would work better in that space, in my opinion. Maybe if I moved it around, like body parts in different spots, like for example, mouth being further away than the eyes. Maybe eyes move like in front of the mouth, but this is not quite it either. I don't like what I have here. This could be just an emoji in my opinion, but today I actually come up with a fourth idea, and it is this little guy, just a slime. You can see the head here is from the other creature here. I slightly modified it, but the shape is quite literally the same. I just made it more smooth on the top and made the bottom part thicker. I also played around with the idea of it being kind of slimy, made more subdivisions and sculpted the like a slime, but I didn't like the puffiness of it, so I went back on it and just used this model here. For the eyes, I actually have planes on the face. So so basically eyes and mouth are on a separate model, and to not waste time I just wrapped around the body. Right now if I move this, the eye moves as well, but as you can see there are some issues here. So I'm not planning on leaving the wrap around. I'm planning to remove the constraint of wrap. I believe it is shrink wrap. The idea is that you have a, let's say this is a nose. Let's have some subdivisions. Let's do this one here, and I snap this object here. So I select what I want to be wrapped on the body here and wrap it around this plane. Do a deform and a wrap. Then do similarly, select a plane and then select a thing that you want to be wrapping around and do shrink wrap and make sure that it is vertex normals and apply. And now I can move around the body like this. And I'm not quite sure why it is deforming a lot right now, but here you can see it is how I made the eyes and mouth stick to the body easily. And my idea is to just remove all of the wraps and just stick with the shapes of eyes, and then using joints I will just move the whole body, and then the eyes will have joints for them as well. So I will have plane shapes for the mouth and eyes, and hopefully this way I will have an interesting character to have as me on the screen. And this is quite literally all the progress I did. I know that this character is simple and not very original in my opinion, but it fits really well the blob description, and I think having a simple character isn't a bad thing. I think it is quite advantageous for me because in the future, if I want to, I can upgrade or make a more sophisticated shape to this dude and maybe make him more interesting. But for now, I will end the update here. For the next week, I'm planning to do all of the UVs and textures. I want to make him look quite interesting, but I don't know if what I have in my head will look good in 3D space. So hopefully next week I am finished with textures, and after that I will start doing rigging, and hopefully in 2 weeks time I am finished with this. I'm not sure about how much time I will have, and hopefully I have a lot of time for this, but it might not happen. So I can't promise you a great deal of updates on this, but stay tuned and you will see some progress next time. Bye.